Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to you all for this special panel discussion which we Nehru Science Center along with the association from Wikiflow and ICCA, both of them, they have joined us for this very special day because this today is the on the eve of this 30th anniversary of United Nations International Day for Older Persons. And also, as we are celebrating lot many programs for culmination of 150 birth anniversary of Gandhiji. We have already organized several programs and it's still going on and will continue till 2nd of October. This panel discussion is especially for smart related with smart city and all experts are from that they are going to present. So before we formally introduce our speakers and panelists, we have with us our director, Nehru Science Center, Mr. Shiv Kenneth. I will request him to welcome as well as just to formally start the program. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Umesh. And thank you to all the esteemed panelists who have joined us today for this special panel discussion on the topic Smart City Development for the Elderly. Ever since the lockdown has begun, most of the science museums and educational institutions have all been closed. So is the case with the Nehru Science Center. The doors to the Science Center may have been closed, but then the Science Center activities have never ever been closed. So for the very first day of the lockdown, all of us have tried our best to get connected with our audience through this new norm, the digital media, which we are using presently to connect with you. And my colleague Umesh has already told you about the significance of today's panel discussion. Incidentally, we've been able to organize this with support from two of the esteemed institutions. One is, of course, Wikiflow, whose chairperson is here with us, and also another institution whose chairman is with us, Indian Chamber of Commerce for Affirmative Action. My colleague Umesh will be formally introducing each of the speakers, the speciality of today's program is, it happens to be the culmination of a very important 2-year event that all over the country we are celebrating. It's called as the sesquicentennial or the 150th birth anniversary of the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhiji. It all kick-started on 2nd October 2018 and it spread across from 2019 to 20. So on the 2nd, we'll be culminating this. It's so befitting that Gandhiji was a man who was very concerned with disadvantaged section of the society. And this year, incidentally, it also happens to be the International Year of the Older Persons. In this pandemic times across the globe, the people who have suffered the most, the casualties which have happened, particularly in European countries, is the people who are with comorbidity and those in the older age sections. So it's befitting that we organize this wonderful panel discussion, more so because smart cities are being planned across the country and having an infrastructure to create the smart city. When the planners of the city are planning for this development of the smart city, some of the planners are here with us as panelists. I'm sure this panel discussion will help accentuate the necessity for keeping the elderly in mind while planning for the smart city. With these few words, I will again hand it over to my colleague Umesh, who will be introducing the speakers. And I would request all our audience who have joined us to please keep logging into the social media networks of the Nehru Science Center, including having a look at the website of the Nehru Science Center. Hopefully, very soon we'll be having two exhibitions opened once the center is open. One is we have an exhibition on digital Gandhi, where the whole life and works of Gandhiji with extraordinarily significant archival photographs, images, videos, all these things are there, all in the new norm, in the digital media format. And also we have another exhibition which is which is almost complete, but we're just waiting for the doors to open. That is called as Hall of Aerospace. So hopefully, let's all hope that the COVID situation improves, which it is. Well, having a look at the numbers in terms of, it's all in millions. But then looking at the recovery rate, which is about 83, 84%, let's all be optimistic about it. It's here to stay for quite some time, and hopefully things will improve. And please stay safe and continue to be following the Nehru Science Center. Thank you, Umesh, and I hand it over back to you and request you to please introduce our esteemed speakers today.
Thank you, sir. It's a privilege for me mentioning about this panel discussion, which itself is very significant in the sense that I was reading somewhere that Science Center always works for inclusive approach to have more and more visitors and everyone.
I had a chef, so he reported positive yesterday.
Today we have this gathering of this panelists, and let me introduce one by one. I will start with Mr. Ranjit Singh Deol, who is IAS and Managing Director, Mumbai Metro Rail Corporation. Mr. Deol, as an IAS officer from 1998 batch of Maharashtra cadre, is basically an electronics engineer. And he has also secured executive masters in public administration. So Deol has varied experience as he held key positions as CEO, Jila Parishad Hingoli, Deputy Commissioner for Jalna, Commissioner Solapur Municipal Corporation, Commissioner for Social Welfare. In fact, during his 22 years of service with government as civil servant, very important thing which I come across is that while he was with the MSRTC, Maharashtra State Road Transport Corporation, he has done exceptionally well exemplary work, which is very well related with social welfare as well as inclusive approach. So perhaps we'll have that it's fittest of the thing that he's with us for this occasion of panel discussion, especially for all the older person. Welcome, sir. Ranjit sir, welcome to this. Then we have Dr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Parvez Hayat, who is an outstanding IPS officer of Jharkhand, is a law graduate from Delhi University and also a PhD in sustainability and disaster management from a central university. He has worked in various capacities in state of Bihar and Jharkhand, and then on crucial assignments in Ministry of Power and Ministry of Finance as Assistant Director General in Central Economics Intelligence Bureau, as well as in the think tank of Ministry of Home Affairs as ADGP in Bureau in Police Research and Development Section. He was awarded President Police Medal for meritorious service in the year 2013. Especially, he received Mahatma Gandhi Medallion Award in Chicago, organized by MAFS Society, working on elderly citizens. So he is basically an author, a blogger, a Google scholar. Sir, it's a privilege for us that you are also here for this very specific panel discussion, which is from your field only. Welcome, sir, Dr. Parvez Hayat. Then we welcome Ms. Malti V. Natarajan, or it is written as Malu Natarajan. Welcome, ma'am. A senior executive in the financial sector with over more than 25 years of experience across multiple geographies, including India, Asia Pacific, Europe, UK, India. Spent over 11 years in Singapore and London. Spearheaded global initiatives both from strategic and tactical aspects in the area of digital technology, operations, risk management, setting up offshore units, transformational initiatives associated with the fintech community in Singapore, including mentoring the startup and being part of judging panels. A chartered accountant with a strong academic background, complemented with real-world experience of working with DBS, Citibank, then Hewlett Packard. They are all Gent companies, so a long experience. Welcome, ma'am, to this special. I hope we'll be able to get many new things, how we can plan and we can learn about this. Then we have, Sri Sunil Chode, a master in labor management. He is also founder and chairman of Indian Chamber of Commerce for affirmative action. He is president of Lion Club of Mumbai, Ireland, working to save girl child in Mumbai suburban area particularly by implementing schemes and programs given by Maharashtra government, Women and Child Development Department. He is also president Sahara Pratishthan, which is an NGO, and trustee of Anjanabai Zode Kanya Vidyalaya in the district of Wardha, which is also associated with Gandhiji. We all know that. Where approximately 300 students from tribal and underprivileged section, they take education. And is also National Trustee of Achievers Foundation for Social Economic Empowerment, New Delhi, working to bring equality in the form of education, employment, and entrepreneurship. He is also international member for World Constitution and Parliament Association, USA. Welcome, sir. Welcome to this program. And then we have with us also Dr. Sonali Khanna, who is a practicing dental surgeon, associate professor at Nair Hospital, Dental College, and vice president, Indian Academy of Oral Medicine and Radiology. She is working with grassroots organizations like SOCLEAN, which is an acronym for Society for Clean Environment, and Green Health Foundation on public health and environmental system, with the objectives of bridging the divides between science, public policy, and practice in real life in the society. She is committed to protecting the interests of elderly, children, especially able and marginalized communities. Her research interests include prevention and management of lifestyle and metabolic disorders, and craniofacial radiology, interdisciplinary research, as also intergenerational differences. Over the years, she earned a PhD from Maharashtra University of Health Sciences and diploma from Symbiosis International University, apart from being conferred the membership of National Academy of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. She has presented technical papers in over 55 international seminars and conferences and published 59. She is a successful professional and advocate of increasing participation of residents in scientific inquiry and vulnerability of living beings in times of climate change and environmental degradation. So with this brief introduction, I know I have cut short because introduction was slightly bigger since we want more inputs from our panelists, distinguished panelists. I will hand over to Dr. Sonali Khanna, who will brief us as well as put her remarks. Dr. Sonali Khanna, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the introduction. Good evening to all the listeners. And I sincerely thank Sri Khener, Director Nehru Science Center, and his entire team for organizing this panel discussion on smart city development for the elderly, which is the need of the hour today. In the year of the 150th birth anniversary of Gandhiji, it is apt to recall that he said that strength does not come from physical capacity, but it comes from indomitable will. And we, all stakeholders gathered here, are doing a lot of work in our respective fields to combat new challenges, to safeguard our society, especially the elderly. But what is needed is the will for fruitful collaboration to evolve multidisciplinary approaches to benefit humanity. The objective being bridging the divides between science, public policy, and practices in real life in society. So in commemoration of the 150th year of the birth anniversary of Gandhiji and the 30th anniversary of United Nations International Day for Older Persons, our aim is welfare of the elderly by improving intergeneration bonding and their quality of life. So 2020, as we all agree, has been a gloomy year, not only from the economic perspective, but also from the social aspect. In this scenario, keeping the elderly engaged and healthy is a big challenge, and at least for the next 2 years, that is till 2022. Now, raising awareness about their special needs is vital to build a society which is inclusive of all ages. The Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizen Act 2007 also mandates interdisciplinary approach to the ailments of the elderly. The National Policy for Senior Citizens 2011, which is by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, needs to be strictly reinforced. So accessible cities for the elderly should be our focus to build an inclusive civil society in harmony with the environment. So designing guidelines and advocating means to mainstream aging issues into developmental agendas should be our priority. The pandemic has given us a stern reminder that even technologically advanced cities are equally vulnerable to diseases. Because in our preoccupation with fast life, we have forgotten the importance of maintaining a healthy lifestyle, yoga, meditation, dignity of labor, and sanitation. So these concepts were also very dear to Gandhiji and have been incorporated in the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So if we actually see, Gandhiji's emphasis on Swadeshi is reflected in today's Atmanirbhar Abhiyan. So it is high time that we refresh ourselves on the teachings of the Mahatma, because economic advancement without excellent health is meaningless. On this occasion of International Day for Older Persons, concerts were conducted to sensitize school children, undergraduates, and the youth as part of a think-a-thon to pull in their ideas regarding this. The aim was, it was imperative for us to create the awareness about special needs of the elderly regarding their comorbidities, their systemic status, and their vulnerability. So this also led to sensitization of parents, siblings, and the peers of these students. So we had a magnitude effect, which was good. And the overwhelming participation of almost 3,800 people from India and overseas made it really worthwhile. It's heartening to note that the ideas showcased in the digital painting contest with the theme Facilities for Elderly People in Smart Cities, and the slogan contest, which was themed Economic Advancement Without Optimum Health is Meaningless. We have seen 331 talented children between 6 to 11 years of age who have taken up this contest this time. And the quiz on the life and works of the Mahatma was answered by 2,500 people at one time. Mahatma Gandhi's life, I feel, is an example of how well he lived and looked after his own health. So, which he also advocated to others. So when India got independence, he was nearly 77 years old, but was still fighting fit. He was undertaking Padyatras in Bengal, Bihar for communal harmony. He used to attend prayer meetings regularly, never acquired even woolens, and led a simple life. He is a shining example of how good health can actually be kept, and elders too can contribute to nation building. And this is what we need today. So when Quit India movement was started, he was already 70 plus years. And though he began his professional career as a lawyer in Bombay, he could actually travel around in villages and work there with equal comfort at a much later age. So we need to remember our obligations to older people as a family and as a society. And therefore, we have to sensitize the younger generation, the students, the children. In crowds, queues, we should always give preference to senior citizens. We need to safeguard their health, as they are bound to have certain complications and comorbidities. So, and also it is understood that at that stage in life, they do suffer from some physical disabilities. It could be a hearing impairment or eyesight problems. We have certain diseases like Parkinsonism, Alzheimer diseases, and musculoskeletal disorders, which are linked to aging. Chronic respiratory disorders, which this pandemic has brought forth in a very high magnitude. So their holistic health needs to be kept in mind. So we should have that enthusiasm to look after them. And many are already suffering from certain disabilities and complications, which makes it more important to focus on them. The increased risk of cancer and chronic diseases is also increasing with age. And this needs to be looked after from a middle-aged or say not a very elderly aspect of age. As India is a graying nation today, our life expectancy is increasing. And it's a sort of a demographic dividend, which should be our asset and not our liability. So when we published some of our original research in 2007, 8, 10 in the National Journal of Gerontology, that is the Aging in Society journal. So we actually took up certain indices, assessed the way the quality of life or the satisfaction index of elderly people is affected by the health and their oral health status. And that led us to continue these studies almost in 2012-14, which are published in indexed international journals, even with certain elderly tribals. So we showcase their vulnerability in terms of the local topographic conditions, the climatic conditions, their habits, the nutrition, which is all very endemic to our country. And that is why we could actually come to the conclusion that they are largely vulnerable and need to be safeguarded extensively. In terms of even nutritional supplements or having vitamin D supplies which are less than the normal population, it was always considered that these were additive biochemical deficiencies which led to certain chronic diseases and aging. So we have actually closely studied this group, and though they are absolutely not they're not supposed to be in a way sidelined at all, and have to be inclusive and be made more and more productive. And there could be no better reminder than this pandemic, because most of the people as to be inclusive and be made more and more productive. And there could be no better reminder than this pandemic, because most of the people as issued certain guidelines which were specially made for people above 60 years and below 10 years of age. So we need to keep that in mind as the unlock guidelines also keep getting refreshed. So as a child, I had always heard that the saying by the legendary Rabindranath Tagore, that he said that don't pray that problems do not arise because they are unavoidable. But we should pray that we have the sufficient intellect and stamina to confront them. And as public health professionals today, I think we can't believe in any more than this, that we are going to get infectious diseases, we are going to get mutated viruses, there are going to be new profile of diseases that we see we need to tackle. But with research and experience, we should be able to evolve treatment protocols to save valuable lives. Thank you. I now request Sri Ranjit Singh Deol to express his views on smart city development and give us some of his valuable inputs.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me for this webinar. And the topic is the smart city for elderly people. But if we see it's very difficult to define smart city. I think even in all the document, it's never defined what the smart city is. A smart city may be a different concept if we are in Mumbai. If we are going to a third-tier city, that concept may be different. And if we are going to New York or to a more developed city, the definition may be different. So basically, smart cities to have a better standard of living for its citizens, and ability to reform with the changing time. So I think if we see that in a smart city, the most vulnerable sections of the society, or if we can say that there are the people who are not included in the growth, there should be inclusive growth for a good smart city. And for inclusive growth, I think elderly people is the one section which is mostly ignored or excluded. If we see the population of India as per 2011 census, so about 8.6% are elderly. Elderly means more than 60 years of age. But with the better health condition, with the better health facilities, or the average age of India is growing, now we don't consider 60 as elderly as we used to consider a few decades earlier. But in a typical Indian socio-cultural environment, if we see, elderly means to create infrastructure for elderly means, because when you are elder, then there is some limited mobility, or maybe more there is mobility issues when you get old. So we have to address those issues in a smart city. But if we see in an Indian socio-cultural environment, if we see 25% of our time of a life of a person, it actually goes in some kind of limited mobility. If you are under 10 years of age, or if you are a toddler, your mobility is limited at that time. Or even if you are accompanying a senior person, your mobility is limited when you are accompanying a senior who is not able to, is not that mobile. Or even if you are pregnant or your spouse is pregnant and you are doing, your mobility is limited. Accordingly, when you are old age, obviously, there are various ages or various incidents when your mobility is limited. So when you are saying that it's inclusive growth only for elderly people, it's not that. The infrastructure means overall it's improving the mobility. So that the less mobile people are able to enjoy the same lifestyle or same standard of living as the more mobile people are able to do that. So, if we specifically focus on elderly people, I think we need to see that the infrastructure should be at the city level. We need to have transport, better healthcare facilities, some cultural centers where they can engage themselves, and especially at the public places, safety like CCTV or on call. If there are some issues, then they can the police can help, or some NGOs can help them in case of distress. At the neighborhood level also, we need different kind of infrastructures which should be available for the there should be good areas where, like in village, there used to be a chavdi where all the elderly people will go and sit and chat with each other. So same kind of small pockets need to be there in the neighborhood for their social participation, and even some community sports service at the local level, and gardens for the morning walks or evening, or for chatting. So at the household level, same kind of system like digital payments. If they are staying alone, they should be able to pay that electricity bill online, on call services for something. These things are, lots of these things are improving, and especially if there is some at house also, the same security and safety system, how the police will respond when you call, make a call. So all these things becomes a part of a very smart city, that there should be a development at each and every level. The same kind of an environment has to be created. As in the introduction, as was told that I was working in State Transport Corporation. Now I'm working in the Mumbai Metro, and in between social welfare. All these are very much related to the elderly people. Social welfare also, one section of that is especially for working for the elderly people, to manage the old age homes, and helping the NGOs to develop old age homes or for old age pensions. And then in State Transport Corporation, although it's more towards the rural, and it's not directly to the smart city, but in the rural for the buses, even if elderly or disabled person is able to board the bus, whether a wheelchair can go inside the bus, or whether he can travel. Even if he can travel, someone can make him sit at a bus stand. If the journey is about 10 hours, and if there in nature's call is there on the way, he can't go outside on his own and then come back to his. Although now there are different facilities are coming up, like adult diapers and all those things are there. But still, well, these are the limitations when one person plans to travel on a long distance. But in the metro city, in the metro, definitely metros are at the international. We are also adopting all the facilities which are there for the people, elderly people, or with the people with limited disability, with limited mobility, or with very less mobility. Like we will have apart from escalator, there will be a lift, so that the people who are not able to stand on the escalator, then they can take the lift. Even if they have to go on the wheelchair, they can go, and there is a space for wheelchair in the metro train. But providing this, and you can say, okay, we have provided this, and when some person says, oh, this all the facilities being not utilized, unnecessarily we are wasting money and space on that. Just because it's not only that one infrastructure, if you can provide all the facilities, then that will be utilized. But there are weak links between. If someone has to come on a wheelchair, if he can't move on a footpath, how will he ride? There is no ramp on a footpath from his, whether he throughout from house to the metro station, whether the path is accessible. So these are the issues. So when we are working for a smart city for the elderly people of a better mobility, then each and every section of the society, each and every department in the public work has to coordinate properly, and so that the accessibility is not providing in your own facility, but throughout the process when one person leaves the house and again reaches to a destination and come back to his house. All of that link has to be accessible. So if you sometimes when we go in wherever you like in the State Transport Corporation, we generally provide a ramp for the getting into that, but reaching there, it becomes a very difficult thing. And then all the signages, it's not only the mobility because of the physically, and then when you are elder, then your visibility is also, so all the signages and the color signages, because sometimes you can't read, but with the colors you can identify. All these things, I think, becomes a very important part of when you develop a smart city. And I think we now each and in the government, also in the public sector, also everyone is getting aware, and our new infrastructures are being developed in keeping in all these things in mind, and hopefully we will be a better city to we will develop better cities in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for those inputs. And it was nice to hear how your organization is taking special interest in making sure that they're revamping everything, and the metro is a very new facility, which of course needs to be emphasized on. Can I now request Dr. Parvez Hayat to please enlighten us about his views, and as also some of the international projects he's closely associated with in terms of aging and managing the elderly.
Thank you, Sonali. So tell me the any time limit to speak on this subject? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Sonali, you have to unmute.
Sonali?
Sir, so you can speak for 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes only. Such a...
Okay, 7 minutes, sir.
So rightly so, when we, of course, the Mahatma Gandhi birth 150th birth anniversary celebration is very important, because in this contest only, through my LinkedIn profile, me and the ex-national women chairperson Jayalalitha, we were two selected, and there is an MFF society, Indo-American Society in Chicago, working in the state of Illinois. And we were awarded for this because of my interest, like in where my house is located here in Delhi, South Delhi, and next door is the Senior Citizen Recreation and Library Center. It's a very good concept in Delhi, and I'm associated with that. And I've been, my experience, whatever I had in Chicago, in having visited many home daycare facilities for the elderly citizens. So smart city, rightly said that there is no definite smart city definition, because although the concept emanated from Barcelona, there was a lady governor, the Lopez, and she conceptualized the concept of smart city. Smart city attributes and facilities, they vary from place to place, from economy to economy, from ecology to ecology, from geography, and also for the developing countries and developed countries like India. We are talking about smart city, but attributes will be different because of the financial factor and environmental factor and many other factors. So there is no definite definition, but definitely elderly people, smart city, whenever there is a city, it has to cater of the requirement of city itself is catered by the people, plumber, electrician. So the elderly people, it's very important, because and the rosy picture in the COVID environment, I would like to say, I've been speaking more on COVID, that in India we have why India still doing well, although the cases are very going high, but the recovery rate is one of the lowest in the world, and the fatality rate is also lowest in the world. Why? Because we have the median age young population, second largest youth population in the country, and median age in India is 29 years. This is why India is keeping the lowest fatality rate, and why the other countries like European, the aging population, where this average age is 42 to 46 years, in Italy, France, etc., Europe. So they have larger aging population. Because of that, there has been a large number of fatalities in that country vis-a-vis India. Coming back to the aging population, the elderly people. Of course, there is a law in 2009, 11. Now they bill Senior Citizens and Welfare Amendment Bill already has been introduced, and in the winter session, because of it has been discontinued. Otherwise, it was supposed to be passed, and how government wants to address. But definitely, it is not only the government; it is the family environment and the stakeholders and the NGO and the society. So MFS Society, which was there in Chicago, Illinois, they were working. So there the NGOs and the society and the government put together, another stakeholder they have been holding, and they have large number of day home care, where they send the Monday to Thursday, they send the vehicles to pick up big vehicles, so that the more and more couples, they come to different daycare home, and they organize many social, because it's very important that elderly people, how they can live comfortably, independently, and productively. As the research of Johns Hopkins University also says, that you just see the Nobel laureate, the average age is all people who have been the inventor. They invented a different thing, and also in the world. Also the Nobel laureates, they are also largely 60 plus. So the people, they says that people productivity is more in the age of 55 to 60, 60 to 65, 65 to 70. So it is very important to ensure that the elderly people, to provide and very, ensuring that the people can live very comfortable, safe, happy, and they can live independently. And also they productive. How productively one can age, this is the aim. How productive. Of course, when you talk about the needs, there are social needs, there are fiscal needs. Fiscal needs has already been talked about, like in aging, there will be a lot of comorbidity and all that. But more important is the emotional need, I was just looking up a video just day before that, how that movie, I'm forgetting the name of an animation movie which has won Oscar award, in which there is a small girl and there is traveling in the bus, and she has got the ticket seat, but an elderly person was standing, and how smartly she offered the elderly man a seat to sit, and she was standing, and the journey was very long. So it's very important, the emotional need, when the way the child is growing, how many questions the child asks to the parent. So many questions may be irrelevant, but still the parents attend all those questions. Likewise, the people who become old, like 70 plus or something, the same elderly people, they also ask many questions to their children. And we children, not me, I am also aging, but what I'm saying that the present day children, because of the science and technology, social media, they understand their rights. And also the society to society, like the elder care home in India is coming up. That infection is coming up. That Western society where you need to see that people are aging people and elderly parents, they get shifted and culture is there. But India is very different. So it's very important to take care of their emotional needs, because the physical needs, the medical, what the care they need, the health and other thing, and how to age productively. So this is why you will see that I've seen this in India. The many justices who retired after 65, 70 years old, always you will find them playing on the, doing some puzzle, solving the puzzle in the mobile. It's very important to mentally. So people who have to be mentally engaged, so mental activity is more important. And beside the physical, of course, and of course the social needs is also important. Affiliation need, because the elderly people, they need to have the people of their own age where they are more comfortable. They go out. I see in the parks, you will find people in 65, 70, 75 to 80. They're laughing. It's very important that they go out, and also watching green. The research also says that watching green is very important. Even if there is a house where the physically, disabled citizen is living in a house. So it is also recommended that window, either you have some green plant, or from the window you open outside, so that keep in a room the people, where is able to watch green. Watching green also, that helps maintaining a very good. So social participation is very important. Watching green, and also the plantation. I recall that when I was a very junior officer, so I noticed that I had a ground floor house with a very beautiful garden maintained by NDMC in Delhi. So one very senior gentleman, 75 plus, came in the morning. Gentleman, if you mind if I do your, sit here and admire your plant and do some curing. So I didn't understand. Then I realized that it is also a kind of meditation. So I told my servant to, whenever in the morning the sir is coming, he was a retired IS officer. So he used to, do curing of the plant and plantation, etc. That also helped, watching green. And also doing some participation. And also that we talk about the physical health, etc. There's visibility and other thing. There is a comorbidity. There's a different thing. And also the technology, smart cities, the technology is play a very important role. There are many countries, like in Barcelona, there are many apps they are working, that how the elderly people, they can be, taken care of by using the apps. For example, you will find that there are certain cities when they are, and also it is very important, that is called open governance, participation of elderly people in the development of the smart city. That is also very important, because they are one of the stakeholders, that they understand their needs. Suppose you have a walking track, like many cities in Delhi, they're walking track, but they're bumpy. So it's very important that suppose there's somebody who's needing the wheelchair, that it should not be bumpy. It should be very smooth, when they're walking. So all these factors, the smart city planners must consult the aging elderly people while they're planning this so-called smart city, So at planning level, they have to be, as a stakeholder, they have to be in also there, the city, intersections, and the gallery, the road, the crossing road, all kinds of, it's very important that they are also consulted when they are planning the smart city. In certain city like Netherlands, Barcelona, they are having many apps which helps by the pedestrians, elderly people, when they are walking on the road, their restricted mobility, extra time to navigate pedestrian crossing. A sensor in the smart traffic light monitors the pavement, the sensor. All over, because of the RCT towers, then there will be a heavy deployment of in the smart city these sensors, so they can monitor the pavement where the elderly people may be walking. So they can always, this lighting also that get adjusted. Suppose the senior person is walking and he may be visually impaired, the light system also get manipulated or modified. Likewise, in the home setting, it is very important when they're living in a home. It is the responsibility of the children that their living modifications in the house is also equally important. So technology has to be intuitive. Another aspect is to ensure that any deployed IoT application, have to be intuitive and very easy. They have to be easy accessibility for the elderly people. So my take is that how to these people, what is the emotional need is very important. Everybody in the elder age is supposed to have friend and supposed to do some mental work, either writing, either doing crossword puzzle. So all those things are very important, and it's very important that the people who are living in the home, and they listen to them. They try to understand what are their medical needs, what are their emotional needs, and they should not be left isolated, and they should be actively engaged. And also it is also recommended that it's better that people, when they are living in a group, like here in the society, the education and library center, which I have submitted a paper to the Delhi government that, of course, here the finances are there, but they are also organizing weekly activities. But in the MFF society, Monday to Thursday, they is to organize so many activities. Suppose every elderly person, everybody has got some special quantity. For example, I am also, a singer. So I noticed that there, how to, find out using these psychological, there are many psychological tests there, so that you come to know that this couple or these elderly persons are there. What are the potential? What are the special, like skill they have? So you provide them skill. If you're a singer, you must have a choreo case, so that if he wants to sing, he can sing. Somebody is interested in cooking, if somebody, they should provide a cooking. So all those needs, affiliation need, social need. So, and of course, the fresh air is also important, and organizing short trip, and respect and dignity is very important. So they must feel, we must realize that they are mentally, age is all mental. Aging is all mental. You'll find some people are at the age of 30, 40, they'll be mentally very sick, very serious, introvert. So it is also important that all these old care home, etc., they must also have the psychologists and who understand the psychology of the elderly people, and accordingly they organize these settings. Either it is a daycare home or in the home, they must know that how to to provide them respect, take care of all their needs, and keep engaging them, and also discover what are the immediate needs. And so I do not know, like in the smart city concept, whether the government of India has any plan for definitely when I knew that I'm going to talk, I checked up that they do have some kind of this concept that whenever those smart cities which are coming up, they must address the social, the physical needs, and also of this. And there is a program of Government of India which has been launched recently based on the Kerala initiative. Now Government of India in 2016 adopted a program for the children. There the school children are given training that on a particular day, one day or so, all the central schools, etc., they go and help elderly citizens to cross the roads. This program, is also going on, but of course, because of the COVID, everything has been disturbed. So I think I am over. One can speak longer regarding a smart city and out, and I'll be taking questions from any participant who want to ask anything. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, and we'll come back to you. So I'd now request Ms. Malu Natarajan, the FICCI flow, the FICCI Ladies Organization has been working extensively towards empowerment and entrepreneurship, not only for women but also for the elderly. So I want you to just throw some light on your ventures and your vision regarding that.
Okay. Thank you, Sonali. Good evening, and thank you to the Nehru Science Center for organizing the panel discussion. It's really nice to see the right kind of people, both Mr. Ranjit and Dr. Parvez on the panel, who can actually make things happen. So we are hoping for a lot of action after this panel discussion, I guess. So I'm going to touch upon two aspects around smart cities. So smart cities or green cities, sustainable cities are buzzwords used globally where people want to define the way that they want to live and live a quality life that is safe and secure. However, one size does not fit all when we talk about smart cities and the solutions around it. The concept is primarily to use, as Dr. Parvez said, is to use technology, artificial intelligence, blockchain, and other tools to improve urban planning. So if you take a state city like Singapore, it is ready for this kind of a change because the basics are taken care of. It is the safest city in the world. You have green spaces defined for recreation purposes. Buses have been designed for wheelchairs to glide in. Local transportation system has been nailed to precision. There is no concept of homelessness. Every mall is linked to an MRT station. Overhead bridges work for pedestrians, and most have elevators for senior citizens. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. And the city is ready to use technology. But if you look at India, India has not reached that stage yet, except for the metro, as stated by Mr. Ranjit. And although we would be leaders when it comes to implementing technology, including AI, especially given the way we've been adapting to online everything during the past few months, automating without having the basic amenities in place may not lead to the right results. So I'm looking at two aspects today. One is the safety of women from a city's perspective, and also smart cities for elderly. A few examples of what can happen from a citizen's perspective. So in 2013, there was this lady called Kalpana Vishwanath. She co-founded Safety Pin. It's an app that aims to help women stay safe by letting users rate streets and areas of safety, including lighting, visibility, people density, security, and transportation. So what it offers the users is the safest route, helping them navigate in the city with less risk. So my question is, why do we need such applications? Should that be the solution? To me, it is a state of desperation as we live in constant fear of being molested and robbed. How long is it going to take a woman to step outside at any time of the day, any mode of transportation, and feel safe? Do we need to carry pepper spray and safety pin apps for the rest of our lives? The privileged few, some of us, try to keep to our safety cocoons. We stay in gated communities, travel in private vehicles, work in gated compounds, and pretend that we are safe in our barbed wire bubbles. But even those of us who can afford safety, gated safety, this is an illusion. Shut your eyes for a minute and imagine that you are in a lonely stretch in any city in India, cut off from the familiar, safe places, communication, or transport, especially in the late night. It feels like the worst nightmare. Simple measures, when we talk about smart cities from a women's perspective, is shifting a bus stop, installing street lights, constructing public toilets, can greatly improve women's safety in cities. The need of the hour is a paradigm shift from a male-centric urban development model to a gender-inclusive one where Dr. Parvez mentioned, we need to get people who are actually involved in the development to come up with feedback. So we need women planners to be involved in the process of designing an inclusive and safe city for all. So if you look at smart cities for elderly, there is a concept called senior tsunami, as it is called. It is going to affect every part of the globe and the urban area in particular. Currently, 8.9% of the world's population is aged above 65 and above, a figure that is predicted to reach about 16% in 2050. In the areas such as mobility, healthcare, and community services, technology innovation will play a pivotal role in upgrading homes and the urban environment in which increasingly the elderly population will start to live. Technology certainly plays a crucial role here when it comes to planning for the elderly. smart cities can incorporate something like the latest technologies in their healthcare services. So older people do not have to go out of their homes and visit hospitals for minor ailments. They can consult with the doctors and get a prescription, one that can be delivered on their doorsteps. Smart cities can create elderly programs in which they are required to wear probably something like a fitness tracker. And in case they suffer any serious problems, their symptoms can be sent to the GP directly or to the family members. And Dr. Parvez also mentioned about Barcelona, which is app-based programs to combat loneliness and social isolation amongst elderly people, which is very, very critical. Simple things like knowing that there are benches to rest along the way can greatly improve the chances of elderly people walking and going out and venturing out. Another key factor is the availability of accessible toilets. In some cities, perhaps, if there's an incline in the street or there's presence of steps or uneven pavement, the elderly may refrain from stepping out. So these are small little steps that can be taken before we move into something that is technology-based. So to make this happen, government, urban planners need to actively involve citizens and get feedback and suggestions on what needs to be done, because this is something that can't be done in isolation and the whole community needs to be involved in it. Thanks, Sonali. Back to you.
Thank you for being so crisp and to the point. And now that we've heard things from all the spectra, I'd request Zodis sir to enlighten us about how your organization and as initiatives to increase entrepreneurship or facilitate, say, banking services for the elderly, and mostly in, say, urban and smart city development perspective.
Thank you, Sonali. And I really congratulate Nehru Science Center, Mr. Shiv Prasad and his team to organizing such a wonderful program and efforts taken to bring this program to all of us. Let me first briefly explain the reason why I'm called to this panel discussion pivotal according to the article by WHO. Between 2015 to 2050, the population of the world's population over 60 years will be nearly double from 12% to 22%. Keeping this in mind, while also taking into consideration the blazing speed of technological advancements happening around us, development of smart cities for elderly clearly checks as one of the basic essential needed in driving our country's success. As we are moving ahead with adopting reforms for smart city transformation, all age groups should be considered, which includes the elderly population as well. Their needs should be met with our development pattern. However, it is worth noting that special attention, wherever needed for the elderly population, also improves the urban life of the general population. So it clearly is a win-win situation. Now, coming to the role of Indian Chamber of Commerce for affirmative action. As we believe in affirmative action, most of the speakers have thrown light on the smart cities needed and their requirements, how useful it is. But I would like to throw some light about the sustainable position of the elderly population. Now, after the retirement, now if you consider the retirement age in India, 58 to 60, the 10 year to 15 year, the effective years the elder person has got to spend or give his outputs. Now, there are so many possibilities and there are so many avenues where elderly person can use their experience and their time to give it to the society or pay back to the society. Now, if the person is from the government sector, he is very rich in experience in the government rules and regulations, which he can share it with the young generation. If you take the example of the industry stalwarts, they are very rich in their experience in the entrepreneurship development. It may be from housing sector, maybe from power sector, and maybe from industry sector. He can use his experience to the new generation to help them to become a successful entrepreneur. Now they can mentor the young entrepreneurs who are lacking in administrative and industry experience. You can mentor them on paid basis where you can have fixed income. The people from marketing and sales can guide them about vendor development programs, procurement policies in which the new startups can earn a good amount of from the income. You can earn, you can also take equity against your remuneration so that you can have permanent source of income till you are there. There are other things available like content writer. You can write a content for many advertising companies. You can write contents for products if you are from the manufacturing field. Then the senior people can go for the franchisee model of business. Now, what Indian Chamber of Commerce does, they have a B program, Business Idea Exploration Programs. So the people coming from various segments, ICCA can create a bridge between the elderly people and the mainstream industry to make them franchises for different products, and they can arrange for the finance. They can arrange from the other ecosystem where they can earn their livelihood. The other option is for work for NGO. Here you can get self-satisfaction that you are paying back to the society, and at the same time you are also earning by completing the project of your liking. ICCA can connect you to the social entrepreneurship. In this, you can be a part of execution of many government programs like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Local for Vocal, and all other things where industry ministry has come out with the social entrepreneurship program, and development commissioner has urged to people to come forward and take the benefit of this social entrepreneurship program. Now there are other things which on local level, on the state level, elderly people can take up, like start your own bed and breakfast business in your own house, or you can take a house on rent. This is very good scheme where you can enter into a business with very less amount of investment. Now the reputed coaching classes has introduced the franchise business of tutors, where people can take the franchise of the reputed coaching classes, and in small cities they can start their own businesses. Then you can have the real estate agency business nowadays in the metros, because it doesn't require any sort of investment, and there are a lot of people coming and going in metros and small cities where the elderly people can sit at home and to take up this business because they are well acquainted with the cities. Now there are so many urban related services they can provide, and they can enter into a housekeeping and facility management type of services again, where it is the need of an hour. These are small things where the elderly people can think of, and Indian Chamber of Commerce can create a bridge between them and the policymakers and the mainstream industry to support them and to start their businesses, leave their earnings. And thank you, Sonali. We are always there. Whatever comes for us, we'll be there to give you the results. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. As sir just highlighted, we have the National Policy for Older Persons, which needs to be mentioned, that it also looks at empowering the elderly to, make things easier for the more elderly. So it in turn gives them the self-esteem and a source of income, which is what the whole aim is. And also need in urban areas to facilitate the workers in terms of the elderly need a lot of support in terms of say the non-kitchen household help, in terms of getting work done in government offices, to small errands which their children would possibly do. And now with lesser travel, etc., even the elderly traveling abroad to be with their children and all would be decreasing with the post-COVID times. So all this had to be looked at. I now request Umesh sir if we can take in some questions.
Not many questions, but I have some questions. In fact, I have listened to all our distinguished panelists. In fact, many of them, when I was planning questions, I think many answers I got simultaneously when they were speaking and covering that. But still, one thing, as Mr. Deol has said, because he has vast experience in this MSRT or metro. Same is the case with Malu ma'am also. She has extensively worked in different countries and she has given a picture also. But the one question which normally I was going through these data for elderly persons, in respect to all, like Dr. Parez also has said, what opportunities they can have in your respective fields, for example, because when they are retired, generally we say, okay, they have done their life and now they should take rest. But now average age has increased much beyond now. Maybe I was reading somewhere, they said the first time that people can think that they can go beyond or maybe around 70 or so. Earlier, perhaps this was not the very much positive case for them. So, but now when you have, say, if you retire at 60 or maybe 58, as Sir has told, so they may have almost 10 years or 12 years at least on average age. What opportunities they can have, for example, in metro, which now is coming up at 10 different lines. So what kind of opportunity the senior citizen can have post-retirement? If Deol sir can say something on that.
In metro cities, there are different opportunities, definitely can be there post-retirement. But if you see the people who are basically skilled, those who have a very the knowledge which they have gained, in some sectors definitely that can be utilized, and that knowledge is very important. As we are now making a metro network, so there are lots of railway employees who have retired, and we can employ them, and they are very helpful even as a consultant or in that way. But otherwise, as Mr. Sunil was saying, there are different opportunities which can be created, and especially when the unemployment is such a high in India, unemployment when there are younger people who are looking for jobs, and there are very less jobs. So there is definitely a competition is there. So we have to create an environment where all the old people or the young people, everyone can chip in. There can be, if we have a good habit, there can be small library which can be managed by the senior people, or even there are some like NGOs, those who are working for the betterment of people, they can also, and even as a helping people, as a guiding people in the metro station. But definitely we have to work on that so that we can create more opportunities, because 60 is not an age for retiring. So we have to find work so that they can be more active for the next 10 years. And it's basically for to increase their age and apart from economic activity.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Truly said, their skill can be utilized for further in smart cities, or maybe in coming up projects and all that can keep them busy also, because keeping them at home is certainly a cause of desperation or maybe depression, whatever you say, if they don't go out. And yes, we need to work on that. But okay, Malu ma'am was telling about something like telemedicine, or maybe they need not to go out. So there is a big concern. Maybe both of you, I will request how this, because the maximum concern is about the health only. Post 60, if they keep on sitting, a lot of disease they will catch up with them, or sometimes they ignore during the working period and later on they prop up in their life. So how equipped we are in smart cities, or what measurement we should take so that people beyond 60, they feel very safe. As Malcolm said, that they need not to go out, or they can be sent the medicine. So like city of Mumbai or maybe Delhi or Super Metro, and many smart cities are coming up or developed by government of India. So I will get maybe from health sectors or maybe Sonali ma'am, you would like to say something further to what Malu has added to that.
So this is something very important that you've just mentioned. So when we talk about artificial intelligence in terms of, say, even something as simple as vital signs monitoring. So in many of the foreign countries, if we say, look at Barcelona as a good example of a city which is, being advocated for the elderly, by the elderly, and even Singapore and many of the European countries, we see that we have certain things like tracking devices. So, the moment your heart rate goes up, or your oxygen level drops, or say your respiratory rate drops, there's a tracker which sends a signal to your family or to the hospital. The nearest paramedics come and take over. So there are ambulance services which are activated on that basis. So we are still far away from those concepts, even in cities like Mumbai. Seeing the current situation of even COVID and the elderly and the bed strength, and we're day in and day out talking about oxygen saturation and the number of beds available to the marginalized sections of society as also the elderly. It is still a far-fetched concept. We need to work heavily on it because anything with artificial intelligence involves a cost, as we all know. Plus, it involves a lot of skilled labor. So a lot of skilled paramedics, medics, they're all required. So basically we need to reinforce the healthcare workers, not only in urban areas and in metros, but also in other sectors so that we don't ignore certain populations. So those are one thing. Then secondly, the most important thing is also a lot of, say even nutritional assessment can be done on the basis of certain artificial intelligence devices. Your retina, the blood, the temperature of the blood can be used to detect certain diseases, certain chronic diseases like say even, if somebody is suffering from say just a clinical anemia, his blood circulation or his retina scan is important. If you talk about the BMI, which is a very common body mass index we all know of, even that can be assessed through artificial intelligence, touch meters, and certain retinopathies of the eye can be done. So all this has really come to the limelight now because of COVID and because of all monitoring possibly being only by remote digital means. If you look at radiology, we would say teleradiology has kind of revolutionized telemedicine in terms of diagnosis, in terms of the amount of testing facilities we have now. The number of centers have actually doubled, and it's become very patient friendly and also very easy to interpret and utilize at a very feasible and reasonable cost, which is the most important. Because I think today, whatever invention that we have, it's important that it percolates to the common man and at what cost. So it should be affordable to our poorest patient. Otherwise, it's very less relevance in the public health infrastructure. So these are some things we need to look at. But telemedicine, teleradiology are all here to stay. We need to start looking at, say, cardiac monitoring or, chronic disorders. Like if you see patients of Alzheimer's and Parkinsonism, these were people who, the only thing attributed to death after, say, 80, 85, 70 earlier used to be natural causes of death. So nobody went into, finer reasons of the causes like neuromuscular disorders, which are on a rise now, because we are kind of done with, communicable diseases in terms of, tuberculosis, and they're already there, they're under control, and they add to the comorbidities. But we have these chronic disorders which need to be looked at also, especially for the elderly, in terms of maintaining their functional status, like spinal disorders, neuromotor disorders, where a person cannot head out on his own, like even sir mentioned. It's important to track such people, ensure their safety, presence of ramps to walk, unsupported environment. So these are some things that will sensitize, the people, and we will have a better safeguarded place for the elderly.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Umesh, I'd just like to add to both your questions. The first one you said is about how do you offer them jobs, or what can the elders do? Both the parties have some role to play. Even the so-called senior citizens have to retrain themselves, have to ensure that they understand technology, if that is the way to go. So they need to ensure that they are able to add value to any organization, and they need to retrain if they have to come back into the working space. So that is something that they need to think about. From a technology perspective, India may not have the right footpath or may not have a well-lit street. But when it comes to technology, I think we are the leaders when you look at it. And even the last few months, if you notice, all of us have gone online for almost everything within a span of 3-4 months. So we are able to develop products, we're able to utilize the products and use them, irrespective whether you're talking about urban, semi-urban, or rural people. Everyone's able to do it. So, the only other thing is when you talk about senior citizens, a lot of them do understand they're tech savvy, but some of them, maybe 75 plus, may get a little agitated when you say, Internet of Things, the whole city is going to work around technology. So there is a lot of awareness training program that may be needed to bring them up the curve. So there is a role to play for both the parties as far as this is concerned.
Yes. In fact, I just add one line. It's not a question, but way back we had used to have a computer training program. It was actually designed for homemakers. Initially, we used to call housewives, but then they said no, they are not housewives, now homemaker. So it was converted. And then taking clue from that, I still remember vividly, there was a person, his age was about 79 years, and he wrote a letter to me. To Science Center, rather, I should say, that you are biased slightly. So we are senior citizens. We also lost opportunity at the time. Computers were not there, but the enthusiasm among senior citizens were tremendous. And we did after that we had, I think, several programs for senior citizens. And the person used to come during the peak time from all the way Borivali, taking a stick, attending program here for 3 hours and getting himself trained on internet and email, but they have new things, chat, Yahoo messengers, so that they can speak to their children somewhere in their outside. So I think enthusiasm is there. Perhaps if we provide them opportunities, senior citizens, many of them, they can have new things, new avenues or increasing. To add that with Ms. Malu and Dr. Sunil, both of you. In fact, it's not a question, it's an offer, in fact, I should say. In Science Center, Mr. Kenneth has several times we have explored that we have almost 14 galleries, and we have always tried that they need to be explained, because sometimes people come, they press the button, they just simply see and vanish from the scene. I don't know how much they take home from those exhibits which are interactive, but they need to be explained. Then perhaps things are better. So maybe with Mr. Sunil and Ms. Malu, both of you, since you are working with NGOs and upliftment of this, maybe this can be a better opportunity to put it to both of you that some senior citizens, some senior people who have exposure of maybe science or some technology and they have retired from that, and if they want to devote some time explaining their experience, explaining these exhibits to the children, to the general public, perhaps we can have a tie-up on that. I mean, it's an offer to both of you. If sometime it can be considered at your office level or official meetings to tie up with Science Center.
Sure. Would be delighted to do that.
Yeah, thank you. So I think there are not much questions from, because maybe the time is over or slightly that way. But I think we have already overshoot. It is 7:16. So should I conclude for today's? Many people, we have a very good outreach, and let me assure you, they will be on Facebook and YouTube. I will update you further on that, how the reach will improve later on, because children are, mostly our Clinton is from children group, and they are all busy with their online classes. So normally we conduct in the evening. So should I conclude it, because already it is 7:15? Yes, Sunil sir, you want to say something? Please.
I would like to send you a communication about that BEEP program, Business Idea Exploration Program, where we have tailor-made one program for senior people, in which we will come out with that government social entrepreneurship program. Where as per the experience of the retired person, that he will be connected to the program, and we will do the handholding right from inception and then to start earning. So next week our team will come with your prior appointment and discuss with you about that program.
Sure. Okay, then yes.
So Dr. Sonali, because of what is the intention of the program? Are you going to, based on this our discussion, any paper policy suggestion to the government? Because in the whole world, there is a concept of open governance, where when the ma'am was talking about the safety women, there are many. Even in India, you have if you go to UP, there is an app called 1020. The moment from any part of the state, any girl who is being harassed or any crisis, she just dialed a number 1020, and the entire location, everything, that reaches to the headquarters. Likewise, there is a need that we must suggest to the government to develop some kind of an app, so that the many people who are not tech savvy, they can just dial an app, and all kinds of needs, the nearby hospital and the police, everywhere the alert goes. Some kind of a suggestion should in policy making for the elderly people. The way you have policy making for the women's safety and safety for the senior citizen, also for the healthcare needs, health tech needs, so that they are like in. I talked about the Netherlands. There is an app. Spain, there is an app. So Helsinki, there is an app, and where you use that app, and when the senior elderly person, a visually impaired person, is navigating, the lighting, cross light, everything get adjusted. So we should. Is there any intention, Dr. Sonali will tell me, to come out with a paper so that you can suggest to the government what all facilities, what all we should do? Because of course the elderly people, the job facilities and other facilities are more in the many people 60 plus. When I am in the Delhi Gymkhana Club, I find 65, 70 people, they are earning much more than when they were working and employed. But in the smaller cities, of course, there is a constraint. So, but still, holistically we can talk. There is always room for all kinds of people, like based on their skill and with knowledge. Everybody has a knowledge, even people who are not tech savvy, but they may be very outstanding, and their knowledge and experience can be the potential. This is why I use the word how to age productively. Aging productively. So if you suggest any paper, then we can contribute something, some thought. In a short span of time, it is difficult to cover all the points which is there in my mind. Yeah. I just wanted to ask Sonali.
And Sonali, if interested, Flo would also be very interested in doing this paper along with...
It would be a good collaborative effort and really head somewhere at least. So as Sir said, age productively is something we need to look at from this age.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, I'm being the member of the Delhi Gymkhana Club. I am finding that the elderly people, the many people, they have, they have find out. Like my own eldest brother, he's 19 years elder to me, retired as MD, SBI. He's earning more. He is a prolific author, writer, blogger, and connected with many institutes based on his experience. So many people, but I'm not talking about only very educated people. Facilities are definitely, one of the speakers said, is more in area. But even in farming sector, I have seen that people in the latest, now there are so many private players have come in the like Skype. Everywhere you have people, wherever. This is why there is a psychological test, if anybody you are knowing, being a student of psychology. So there in Delhi, Prayas is an NGO. What they do when they are working on the traffic child, and there are, so they use the app, but these are the girls who have been recovered, who has what, potential, who can do. Likewise, there is another NGO, I have been there, the teaching. Suppose somebody who has been a teacher simply will go to an NGO where the dropout girls, in India, roughly 6, 8, 9, 80 to 86% dropout children are in the class 7, 8, 9, as per the data available from the Ministry of HRD. Like when we talk about the technology, when the IT Act 2000 was drafted, the objective was something else. It came into being to catch the financial fraudster. But now, if you go to the site of the National Crime Record Bureau, which there's a time when was the part of it in the BPRND, you'll find the crime against women has increased. A tech-related, internet-driven crime against women has increasing every year. And during the COVID, the domestic violence is increasing because of the people living whole time, wife. So let us have very good talks. Have been there. Madam is there from FICCI. I am also connected with the CII but there I am working more on this on elderly, more on ethics and governance. So why not to have a paper, and I will let you know whom to address, the Department of Women and Child and Department of different. I mean the HRD. They have many schemes for the senior citizens coming up, so that small projects they're giving to people who are retired professor, 70 years, 75 years. Something can be worked, so that our webinar which you have organized, the Nehru Center, let there be some paper and all of us can contribute. Thank you.
Landmark.
Yeah. Okay, so I think it has gone very well, and during this entire discussion, there were many things which have come up. The also has told about opportunities and challenges of a smart city and new developments. Dr. Parvez has told about the emotional needs, and we need to take care of that. That's also part of it. And then Malum has told about quality of life, and then app. And there is one very, very important aspect which has covered, like government need to include women planners so that they can address, because something like that. How long it is true? How long we need to carry those safety pins and peppers in their bag? That's really it's a very good suggestion. Then Jode sir has also briefed us how many opportunities are there with which they are working, and so that they can get more and more opportunities and to maybe improve their better life. I think the entire gamut of this discussion falls very well in one of the SDG. UN has set up some 17 goals for sustainable development, and almost all of them, with especially goal 3, they have specifically mentioned about this, where inclusion means leaving no one behind, and with dignity and their potential, all the age-old people they can live. So we need to include all those, and perhaps as Dr. Parvez has told about, if we can come out with some sort of paper, this recording will be available to listen back what we have discussed, maybe some of the points we might have missed while discussion. Then perhaps we can come out with a paper, and that can be given. Dr. Parvez can definitely guide us how to address and where we need to send it. So overall, it has been a very good discussion along with the UN proposals. So with this, with a lot of thanks to all of you, and Nehru Science Center. Actually, I will just say, Dr. Parvez, this Nehru Center and Nehru Science Center, there's a big confusion always. So there's 2 different entities in Mumbai. Nehru Center is another one, and Nehru Science Center is where we are located right now at Science Center. So,
like I told you, my neighbor, there is a place, recreation and library center. A lot of book people are contributing. Many people, maybe you have a lot of books. So we keep contributing those books to the center, and elderly people go. Every week they are organizing functions. I have said no, it should be rather more and more occasion. There are many Mother's Day, Father's Day, Parent Day. There should be more and more occasion for people to go and sit in the library and recreation center. And it should be a nation-based program, and also the app which caters, like in US 912, all caters all. Likewise, we can elderly people and women. Unfortunately, in India, different states have a different app for women's safety, in India, the 1020 helpline and 100 that has come 3rd best in the world in technology. Madam has rightly said we have already gone ahead. Now people who are very, not very confident of touching the computer there because of the COVID. Everybody is, using Zomato and other online things. So we can contribute to paper. I will guide Sonali whom your center will come to, like your contribution, if it is Nehru Center, so that the proposal go to the right place, and I'll be able to follow it up. And holistic paper with all of us who have spoken, because everything cannot be covered in the debate which we had.
A good igniting factor. I'm sure we brainstormed a lot, so there's some spark somewhere.
Yes.
Okay, all ladies and gentlemen and our panelists, I'm really thankful to you, in fact, for giving opportunity to Nehru Science Center to host this event. And I think it has gone very well, smoothly, because sometimes technical glitches are always there. But today, I think I'm happy to see that everything has gone quite smoothly. With a request and hope that perhaps we'll soon again, or maybe sometime during this, with a new idea, new topic, we'll meet again. And when lockdown will be opening, those who are nearby in Mumbai, I'll request all of you to visit us and see what we are doing. Perhaps we need more and more support from institutions like FICCI, FLOW, and ICCA. And all, I think from government sector also. They also. Yeah. So, thank you very much. I think we can conclude this.
Yeah.
Thank
you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'll request our organizer or maybe the coordinator, they can close the meeting now.